Hey, so welcome to my beginner's guide to KeyShot visualization. I'll try and keep it short because I've filmed this a few times before and I just kept rambling on about rendering. So yeah. So hey, I'm Joseph and I'm currently a second year industrial design student at Loughborough Uni. And these are just a general example of my rendering style at the moment, and I'm still definitely a beginner, and so I don't really feel as though I'm in a place to be giving a tutorial on KeyShot. But the Design Society at Loughborough just reached out to me asking me if I'd like to give one, and so I said yeah because I was pretty honoured that they asked me. So here we are. I think it's important to remember that rendering is just one of those many techniques that an industrial designer needs to have. So don't try and stress yourself out too much if your renders aren't perfect, because there are so many of the skills that you can have. And I think it's important to be a very well-rounded designer rather than someone who is just really insane at KeyShot but average at everything else. Unless you want to be like a 3D artist or visualizer, then I think it's important to be very good at rendering. But in essence, rendering is just taking a photo of your CAD model, much like product photography. And there are many different ways of doing this, but personally I think the most impactful renders are those that have some kind of story, whether it's telling the viewer more about the form of the product or its function or where the designers took inspiration from. I think it's important to remember that your render should be trying to convey some kind of a message to whoever's looking at it. And I think one of the best examples of rendering is with Apple, and I feel as though I can't talk about rendering without mentioning Apple just because of how much influence they've had on my renders. But I just think they're such a great source of inspiration because all of their renders are just so perfect and minimal. And so I think really, if you find a brand that you enjoy and you like their renders, I think there's no harm in copying exactly what they do to help improve yourself. And much like product photography, if you gain a greater understanding of photography, so lighting, composition, and how different photographers create different types of shadows or how they show off different parts of the products, I think that's also really important when trying to create some of the best renders that you can make. And so for sources of inspiration, I think Pinterest is probably the place that I go to the most, just because it's so... every time you open the website, it shows you something new and something you might never have seen before. And it's really easy to create boards and just gain a huge database of different images of renders. And Behance is also great, and so is Instagram, at just seeing what everyone else is doing at the moment in terms of their rendering techniques. And Render Weekly, I think, is the best place to find such a diverse range of renders, from students to professionals and anyone in between. And so much like product photography, I think composition, lighting and CMF are three of the most important parts of a render, just because they all work harmoniously together to create a really aesthetically pleasing image that draws people's attention. And so understanding composition is pretty easy. It's not like a time consuming task. It's just one of those skills you just pick up as you go along. And I think it just really helps make your render look a bit more necessary. And so using techniques such as negative space can really improve your render and give your product breathing room, as well as using the rule of thirds that can significantly help draw the viewer's attention to different parts of the design while creating a really balanced composition. So for example, on the left, I made a render with fairly bad composition, whereas on the right I made one using decent composition, and there's quite a big difference because the one on the right just looks a bit more visually appealing and so much more balanced than the one on the left. And so composition is normally the first part of the rendering process that I do. just because it frames the shot that allows you then to adjust the lighting and the materials if you have to. And moving on to lighting, I think this is probably one of the most important parts of rendering techniques, just because lighting can have such a dramatic effect, or it could have a very little effect. It could be very soft lighting, or you could have this really intense lighting that's highlighting only one part of the design. And so creating your own custom lighting is really important. And so I really don't recommend using the stock KeyShot lighting environment, because that just doesn't really work for anything, except the only time I use it is when I'm setting up the composition, just because it illuminates the whole product fairly evenly, and so it really makes it easy to move the products about. But I highly recommend that genning up on your lighting knowledge, because that's really going to significantly improve your renders. And so to do this, I mainly used YouTube videos such as these by Liam Martin, and the one on the left is probably the most impactful KeyShot tutorial that I've ever watched, and it's literally like 5 minutes long, and it's going to drastically improve your renders as long as you understand how you can apply his techniques to your renders. And I normally use HDRI lighting just because it's a lot more flexible. And so watching his tutorial on HDRI lighting is also really going to be helpful when learning the general foundation to that type of lighting. And one more thing about lighting, I think backlighting, when you've got a floating product, is possibly the thing that's really going to help make your image pop. So, for example, I've got this bit of backlighting going on here, and it really just helps the product stand out from the page. And I think it's one of those techniques that a lot of photographers use to just make their product look much more 3D and much more appealing. And then finally, color, material, and finish all work together to create a much more realistic looking render. So again, just like with lighting, I think it's important to really nail the material graph, so you can create your own materials that's going to help you create much more realistic renders, rather than using the stock materials that are built into KeyShot. Because here on the left I've used, I think they're the stock KeyShot materials, and then on the right are my own custom designed ones for this project. And I think the difference is, it's really noticeable. You have like these really dark patches that I tried lighting them nicely, but it was really hard to work with. Whereas this much more slightly translucent silicone that I made definitely helps illuminate this area a bit better, as well as the way the lighting is diffused along the product. Here it just looks a bit dull and a bit flat, whereas here the material I made looks much more 3D and much more realistic. And then again, like, you've got a bit of that backlighting going on that's really going to help make that render pop, whereas here with the default material it's not very noticeable. And I think this is one of the hardest parts of KeyShot to master, because I'm still really bad at materials. I'm not that great when it comes to the material graph. But watching these tutorials by Espen Oxholm, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and by Will Gibbons, is really going to help you improve your renders and just making them go from looking like flat objects that have nice composition and nice lighting. But if you want to create a really hyper-realistic render, you do need to kind of create your own materials to give it that really nice looking effect. And So once you've mastered all these skills, which I mean I haven't done, I've only been using KeyShot for about a year now, so I'm still learning each time I open the program. But I think it's important to remember that you also need to have good CAD. So applying fillets, especially curvature continuous fillets, to all your edges is going to help make those sharp corners look a bit more realistic. Even when you have a chamfered edge, it's important to apply a very small fillet to the edges of that chamfer rather than keeping it sharp. Otherwise, the way the lighting is diffused along the product just really gives it away that it's a render. And so, by default, in SolidWorks, when you make a fillet, circular is the default option. And so you need to change that from circular to curvature continuous to give it that much more blended effect that you can see, that you might see with an Apple product compared to a more circular fillet. So, for example, I used a circular fillet for this basic, like plastic rectangle that I made, and then a curvature continuous fillet here on the right. And if you look here in this corner, the way that fillet blends between the two faces is much smoother here than it is here. And it's not perfect. It's not the ideal way of creating a fillet, but it's the easiest way of doing it as a beginner, and it's what I still do a lot of the time for more of the really small parts where manipulating your own curves with splines isn't always completely necessary when you're just doing it for a render. And so with all that in mind, I think one of the best things you can do to improve your skills is just to use KeyShot as much as you possibly can. So I made these renders almost just over a year ago now, and these, in my opinion, are not very good compared to, I think, what I know now. But this is just because I didn't really understand what KeyShot could do, and I hadn't really watched that many YouTube tutorials at this point. But literally within the space of a few days, I then made this render, which has a much better composition, much better lighting. It was just the materials that I needed to work on. And so a few days after that, I ended up with this image, which is drastically better than what I was making around this time. And within the space of a week, just by constantly trying to get better, each time I opened the program, I ended up making a fairly decent render, even though the design isn't that great. The rendering progress that I made was pretty dramatic. And then within the space of a year, if you constantly try to improve on yourself, each time you make a render, you end up significantly improving over time. And again, like the rendering that I've done most recently for my most recent project isn't perfect by any means. Like, it's not, there are still quite a lot of flaws with it, but I understand so much more about how KeyShot works just because I kept trying to improve upon myself, rather than just getting frustrated all the time and giving up too soon. And so I definitely think that constantly iterating and learning more and wanting to get better, and just having fun along the way is the thing that's really going to improve your renders. And so for me personally, I think putting my work out there was one of the most motivating aspects of trying to get better at KeyShot, because there are so many Instagram accounts that have and gain a lot of engagement, and they're just full of renders. So like Render Weekly, for example, has a lot of followers, a lot of engagement, and they just post renders. And so at the time I was making these really mediocre renders that I wasn't very happy with. I was a bit embarrassed by, and so I didn't want to put it online. But at the same time, I wanted to use an online presence as an extension to my portfolio. And to do that, I felt as though I had to have good renders. And so that really motivated me to go from basically knowing nothing in KeyShot to knowing a bit more than I did a year ago. So you don't have to put your work online. It's not going to make you good at KeyShot, but if you're struggling to find motivation to learn, it can be really impactful in helping you become a much better visualizer. And so the key takeaways I would say are finding inspiration where you think it's going to be necessary towards the rendering style you're trying to adopt, as well as improving your CAD skills will definitely help you create much better, much more realistic renders, while understanding composition, lighting, CMF. Those are some of the main aspects of getting better at KeyShot that are just going to give you that bit of an edge compared to other people who might not have really spent the time learning about lighting or learning about the material graph or how composition can affect the way you might perceive the render. And then obviously learning from others is probably the best form of education, just because there is this amazing community on Instagram of designers who really love helping other people out and helping people develop their rendering style. And if you're at this point watching this tutorial, you're already probably at the right point, learning and being motivated enough to want to get better at KeyShot. And also copying different styles I think is important, because if you might not, as a beginner, you don't really have your own style. You might have this idea of the style you want to achieve, but you don't know enough about KeyShot to get to that point. And so I think if you just copy people's work, it can definitely help you learn what you like, what you don't like, as long as you credit who you copied it from if you do post it online. And then posting stuff online is a great way of motivating yourself and helping you to aim to improve yourself overall. And so that when you look back at your previous renders from a year ago, or maybe even days ago, you're really going to see the progress you've made, and that's going to fuel that motivation even more. But I think overall you should just have fun. Like it's not something that I really get stressed over. It's just every now and then I go in KeyShot with each new project and I try and learn something new, and I just listen to music or a podcast or whatever in the background. So it's not like a serious thing. It's just something that you might have a bit of fun with, just so you can develop your skills and become a much more well-rounded designer. And so if you want to ask me anything else, or just look at my design work so far, I've got my Instagram account, which is @madebyjoseph, as well as my Behance, where I post all my finalized projects, where you can see the whole design process that I took to get to my renders and the final form. And then obviously check out the LoughboroughDesign Instagram account and the LoughboroughDesign account to get updates on the design school in general. So cheers, thanks for spending the time to try and improve your KeyShot skills, and thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing how you improve your KeyShot renders every day. So cheers.